correct, Jay. And, you know, that leads me on to, there was a programme on BT Sport the other day about, it was called No Hunger in Paradise. It was a documentary going up and down the country, talking to young lads that's been in the system from 8 years old to players that, you know, with similar backgrounds to yours, Jay, that started off, well, quite reverse, really. They started off at Crystal Palace, ended up in prison, you know, through trying to keep it real with their friends and not understanding who they was at that peer pressure. And he went to jail and came out of jail, and he realised when he got out of jail, all them guys he had around him in Crystal Palace was no longer there. All the guys he was going out with was no longer there. And there was another case where, which for me was mind-blowing, but there was, I think it was like a 13-year-old kid who was signed a contract to be on 40 grand a week when he hit 17 for the next 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. What's your thoughts about that?
What's your thoughts about that? You're the agent.
What's my thoughts about that?
Not enough.
Listen, Ledge.
I would have got him 45.
Personally, I would have got him about 60. Whoever his agent is, leave him, come to me. No, but for me, Ledge, on a serious note, I think that's a great question. What would I do with that? I think I 100% agree with what you're saying. No kid at that age needs 45 grand to survive, especially not coming from money, right? So I will put a majority of it, 90% of that, in a trust fund.
Yeah, but he has to agree with that.
He has to agree with it, and more importantly, his family has to agree with it, and that's the biggest problem. His family has to agree with it. So when you've come from nothing, and all of a sudden you earn these riches, the family that's been on that bread roll for how many long generations, they're now multi-millionaires, effectively, through their son, right? So therefore, that parent turns...
It's easily remedied. You just give the family an allowance as well.
But what, the club would have to give the family allowance?
Two bread rolls. Out of his 40 grand a week, wherever he gets. So the kid gets 10 grand, they get 10 grand, the rest of it goes in the trust fund.
I wonder how many players that never made it didn't make it directly as a result of parental influence.
Loads.
There's loads.
Millions.
Loads. I come in contact with loads.
Millions.
At the minute.
And had they have had the right sort of direction, they would have made it.
Yeah, 100%.
What have they done wrong then?
What the parents?
Yeah.
Like, I know one who actually wrote the England coach at under 15 level and asked him why he's not playing.
Yeah.
And
that's the sort of thing.
That's the problem. You got to remember, some of the parents now, back then, you know, they live through their child. So they live that dream because they never made it. They pushed their child and want everything for their child to make it to that level. And sometimes you got to remember, as a child, you don't see football, especially being the parent of an 8-year-old or 7-year-old. You know, that's playing football. They know nothing about the money that's going to come in the game.
You're meant to enjoy it.
You're meant to enjoy exactly that. You're meant to enjoy it. But when you get in the car before game and post game, and you got parents saying, "You got to do this, junior. You got to do that, junior. You got to make sure." So before the kid gets out there, he's already tense, and he doesn't understand why dad is talking to me about this. But for the parent, you're right. Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs. This is the gravy train now. Now this is the holy grail.
And they think they're coaches as well and stuff.
Exactly, and you've got to make it work. So the pressure that the little kid gets put under is phenomenal. And a lot of them turn around and go, you know what? By the time when it counts, when they're 17, 18, they're like, so this for game is so.
Because our Rob say it's mental first, isn't it? Before physical, you've got to have the mental thing to sacrifice your weekends.
Yeah, but I think even before that, you're a child before you get to that stage.
Yeah.
And when you're a child, you depend on who? Your parents. And if your parents are the ones that's basically enabling you and writing letters to the FA and speaking to the club and pushing that 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, it's going to become a time where that kid's just going to turn around and say, you know what, enough is enough. Yeah. When he's 17, I'm going to actually...
just bugger off.
Yeah, I'm going to do something else that I don't even have to be around you because they can't stand that relationship that they have. And I see it all the time. And it's hard because then you're advising about being a parent and that's not your position. You know, I'm not there to be an advisor about parents, but you see it and it hurts the kid. You can see it in the kid.
Well, boot on the other foot, should there, with the FA, with all the agents, so the agents have got their FA number, should the FA do more to vet agents, because there are certain agents that shouldn't even be in the game? Should the FA or club say, no, actually, we can't do the deal because that agent these are our recommended panel of agents?
Yeah, well, the clubs are corrupt.
Yeah, they are. Sorry, can you say that again, please? I missed that.
They'll just pick their agents they want to pick, and they get a part of
the deal.
So it won't work.
I don't think you could ever police that, Zane.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, they tried policing agencies.
They tried that a couple of years ago, and it failed miserably. Because at the end of the day,
it was half the agent's fault and half because if you've got an agent, you have to have an agent, and it has to be registered. If you don't trust the agent, so that's why people started using their brothers, their uncles, their aunties, their mums and dads because they're the ones they trusted.
Yeah,
it's the agent's fault. Really, they lost they're just not trusted.
Yeah,
can't trust them all.
Yeah, and that's a problem. And until that can change, which I don't ever think it will change, because you're hearing astronomical figures about players moving for 146 million, 120 million. Now
if the clubs are corrupt, then everything around it will follow.
Yeah, if you look at all the top players that go for big money, there's normally one or two agents do them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
they're involved somewhere along the line.
And what will normally happen is that the bigger agents that's involved in that club will come and steal the player off the agent that the player's been with since he was a kid. So when it comes to him actually getting something back in terms of what they worked so hard for together, and they play even more so, the big agent will come and say, well, if you want to go to Liverpool, you're going to have to come and sign with me. I mean, I've
But don't you have contracts?
But don't forget, there's the clubs of agents.
Of course.
So it's not just one agent of a player going to the club saying, right, we want to sign him, and we'll do it. That agent has to deal with another agent who's in contact with the agent of the club. Mm-hmm. The agent of the first club he's going from, they've got an agent. So
every club has an agent as well.
Oh, there will be embedded with an agent.
There'll be a manager that uses agents. Managers use their own agents.
Yeah, managers use their own agents. And I've heard stories recently, sickening stories about players being called into the manager's office. The player gets in there and he's told that in order for you to sign this brand new 5-year contract, bumper contract, which is on the table, you have to use Zayn. If you don't Use Zayn Nash, you're not going to get your deal. Yeah. So
sounds all right, that, doesn't it?
All of a sudden, it's all right for you because you're going to get paid.
Zayn.
Yeah, it's all right if you're Zayn.
But surely they'd have to share it with the old agent.
No, why would they? That's
because won't you have a contract saying any proceeds made from this player, you have to take a cut?
Yeah, but what if you don't have that contract, but you have a relationship?
Well, then you're knackered, aren't you?
Then you're knackered.
Yeah.
Right? But even if you do have a contract with a player,
they break him in football,
which is
don't
there
they?
to protect you. If Jamie goes and does the deal,
just pay you off.
If Jamie's a good guy, he will pay me and say, Ed, look, you know what? I'm gone with this other agent. I'm going to pay you.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, the way it works, and I'm sure you two will be able to
see you in court.
They'll be like, no, I saw you because I don't fancy giving that money. So now I've got to chase him.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And it becomes a vicious circle.
And you're not going to bother.
And you're not going to bother. Yeah. Or if you are going to bother, it's going to cost you more money than probably he would have paid you.
You've got to go to high court.
So it becomes again your word against his. So it's not, like Les says, it can be very, very, very corrupt in that sense, And I just think sometimes the clubs do need to look at that situation. But again, how do you police it? Because if a club wants a player, they will work with anyone. They'll work with Donald Duck to get that player.
Yeah.
As long as you can deliver that player.
It's like tapping up. You can't police that.
No, how are you going to do that?
Anyone can talk to a player and
how are you going to do that? It's impossible to police that.
Well, moving on, Ed.
Yes, ma'am.